in person. And so that recording started now. And another thing I'd like to point out to everybody is that it's not necessary to keep your webcams on, so you can feel free to keep those off. It'll help reduce visual distractions as well for others in the call. Please keep your microphones muted unless you are talking to minimize noise. And we will be stopping at the end of each section to field questions as they come up. So feel free to put your questions in the chat box. We will address those as we go through the presentation. We're also going to have a larger Q&A session at the end. And if you would rather say your question out loud instead of putting it in the chat, just go ahead and put an X in the chat. Since GoToMeeting doesn't have a raise hand function, putting an X will let us know that you'd like to say something and we can call on you. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Here is today's agenda. We are going to go through the introductions, talk about the organizations who are hosting this presentation, South King County trips overview that will be given by the City of Tukwila. We're going to talk about COVID-19 safety measures that have been implemented on King County Metro and some other transportation agencies in the region. Then we're going to head into a public transit 101 information session, give some commute options for South King County, and trip planning, help you and maybe clients or end users learn how to trip plan. And with that, moving on to introductions. So my name is Jeannie Walzer. I work for Hopelink Mobility Management Travel Programs. I am a program specialist, and what we do at Hopelink Mobility Management is we help educate people and provide transportation resources through our outreach, and this is one of those outreach efforts. Also on the call with Hopelink is Sarah Sisko. She is our program manager for travel programs, and we have Bebin Gilbert, and she is our new South King County coordinator. And now I will hand it over to City of Tukwila to introduce themselves and their program.
Hello, my name is Chris Andre. I work with the City of Tukwila and work with Allison Turner here on the call as well. So we have an initiative called South King County Trips, and this is part of some of our grant-funded programs that are oriented towards getting people moving, provide resources and rewards. Allison, I'm not sure if you would like to introduce yourself before I jump in there. Sorry.
Sure. I'm Allison Turner. So I work with Chris at the City of Tukwila, and I'll just let Chris continue. I'm the Sustainable Transportation Program Manager at the City of Tukwila. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. So I am an outreach coordinator with the same program, and the specific SKC Trips program here is a grant-funded effort that serves South King County. This is a nice example of the information or resources that we might be able to provide to you or your work site. This effort is a partnership also with Hopelink. We provide resources and rewards actually for people to find healthy and sustainable ways of getting around. This is also linked to transportation rewards like ORCA Cards, safety gear, and then also other local rewards. If individuals or yourselves are interested in enrolling in the program, there's a link here on our tukwila.gov link to enroll. And then feel free to touch base with us via email there. And could you please move to the next slide? Thanks so much. So we are oriented towards many modes of getting around and encouraging people to take any of these modes or multiple modes to connect. We're geared towards residents, workers, and employers. And the goal is to reduce congestion and pollution, but then also to improve health and air quality. And trying to get people ready, as we all are, to get back post stay-at-home order. So some of these answers are easier than others, but please feel free to reach out to us if you would like a presentation to your organization or a transportation consultation based on your work site, or if you have other people who, individuals such as residents that might be interested in receiving more information. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And I'll just take this moment to remind everybody that you can send us questions through the chat. So if you have any questions about SKC trips right now, feel free to just type it in there, or again, put an X if you'd rather say your question out loud and we will call on you. So I'll just give us a moment for that. Okay. All right, so I'll just go ahead and dive in then, and again, just continue to send those questions through the chat. We will address them as we go on. So COVID-19 safety measures, it's no secret that transportation has been heavily impacted by stay-home order and public health guidelines. And as a response to that, King County Metro and other transportation organizations have implemented a number of safety measures to keep their passengers and their employees safe during this time, and also moving forward as King County and surrounding counties begin to open up more, move into phase 2, and more individuals are going to be traveling through on their services. So one step that they have taken is to increase their cleaning. They now do this nightly, focusing on those high touch areas. And this is important, especially as transit agencies begin to collect fare again. That high touch area that everybody touches, the ORCA tap or the cash box as they pay their fare when they get on the buses, all the handbars and the seats are wiped down nightly. And also to protect drivers and operators, the driver's seat is disinfected before and after, and transportation agencies have handed out personal protective equipment to all of their drivers. And an important aspect that was in place before COVID-19 came to King County in Washington, but is also just helpful, is that the air systems on the buses already filter out the COVID-19 droplets. But if you or your clients are concerned about COVID-19 droplets being in the air on the bus, you can always open those windows, and that'll help get airflow through the buses and try to clean out the air also. And another effort to help keep the buses clean, this is something that is also already in place, but is just a good reminder that if you have concerns or in the bus you see something that's unsanitary, there are these lines that riders can text to point out, hey, this needs to be clean or something's broken. And this similar messaging to what's on the slide right now, this is from Sound Transit, but similar messaging will be seen on buses across the region and on vehicles, so the riders will have that information handy when they need it. So it's not something that you need to remember right now, but just good to know it exists, so when you see it, you know what it's for. Temporarily reduced service. This is another thing that we know has really impacted clients and people trying to move around. That ridership has been way down since stay-home order, but people still need to move around for essential trips. Essential employees need to get to and from work, and King County especially reduced some routes, and other routes were cut entirely. And agencies are asking that people only use the service for essential trips, getting to and from work, getting groceries, other human services that are essential to maintaining health. But it's important to note that King County today was approved to move into phase 2. And so with that, more people are going to be moving around the county and traveling again. And along with that, King County Metro is ramping up their service. So starting on Monday, June 22nd, which is the Monday coming up, the services are going to be restored, and dozens of routes are going to be back online, and increased service on lines that had seen service reduction. This is changing, so we don't have exact information to give to you right now, but a good place to go to find that information is King County Metro's website, and that'll be your best source for getting up to date what routes are running and what frequency. And so this website is linked, and I will be sending out this PDF of the slide deck afterwards. So all the links in this slide deck you'll have for your records, or if you want to look in for more information. But you can go there right now and to their schedules and maps tab, and at the top there is a link for their reduced schedules page, and they will be updating that as they go along. Another important safety measure that was put in place is adapting how passengers move through the vehicle, so passenger flow. Agencies have asked the passengers enter at the rear door. People who use Rapid Ride will already be familiar with this. So enter through the rear door and exit through the rear door as they're able, but that front door is still available for ADA accessibility, people who need when the buses kneel or the ramps come out. So that front door is still available. And to help with this passenger flow, agencies eliminated fare temporarily. So riders didn't have to go and tap their card on that cash box. They could enter at that back door. And this was to protect both passengers, but also to protect operators to reduce their exposure. Another way that the agencies, specifically King County Metro, modified their passenger flow is to reduce the maximum number of passengers that they were allowing on each bus. And this is still continuing through Monday and with increased routes. So the passenger capacity guidelines are seen here. Those short or those standard length buses, the 40-foot buses, are limiting to 12 riders. And the double length buses or the 60-foot buses that have that accordion in the middle can take 18 riders. And while riders are on the buses, still asking that people social distance, make sure they sit at least 6 feet apart from each other. And this does mean that some drivers are going to have to pass up riders waiting at bus stops if their bus is already at capacity. And the drivers are instructed that if that does happen, that they call it in to dispatch, and then another bus will be sent out on that route to meet the increased demand. And this is a measure that was set in place to help promote the social distancing again. And the transportation agencies identified those routes that were more in demand, especially for like getting essential workers to and from work, or connecting routes that were on groceries, near grocery stores. And so they did increase service or keep service higher on those high demand routes. And then a last safety measure that I will point out specifically towards riders is the mandate to wear face coverings on buses. Now this is voluntary, there's no punishment for not following, but it's strongly encouraged in order to keep COVID-19 particles in the air at a minimum. And riders who are unable to wear face masks for any reason, health reasons, or any other, can wear face shields if they are able. But again, no punishment for not following the mandate, just strongly encouraged. And for more information on that, there's the link kingcounty.gov/masks. And then I've also linked here just to the kingcounty.gov COVID website. So that website will cover any additional safety measures set up in King County, not just on transit, but around. And then a last impact that COVID has had on fare collection. So they stopped collecting fares, like I said, to help with that passenger flow, so people didn't have to do that high touch area with a cash box and paying their fare, and also to help essential workers or others who are affected by decreased wages, to help with that cost barrier for riding transportation. And King County Metro stopped fare collection. They've extended it through June 30th. No word yet if that will be extended again or if they will begin phasing fares in or resume fares entirely. So watch King County Metro's website for that information. It will be updated on their blog, I'm sure, as soon as they have information on that. Sound Transit began phasing fares back in. So on June 1st, the Link Light Rail and the Sounder buses both began collecting fares. It was still a reduced fare, and you can still buy those reduced fares on the Transit Go app or at the vending machines on the platforms for those services. You can pay with your ORCA card, but the ORCA card will tap for the full fare. The ORCA systems are not set up to do a reduced fare, so important to know. Tell your clients until, as long as that phasing is going on, that to get the reduced fare, they should use the ORCA Go app or again buy the fares at vending machines. And community transit, so this mostly operates on the north side in Snohomish County, but comes down into King County. They started their fare collection on their Swift buses, so their rapid ride equivalent buses, on June 1st, and they will begin their full fare collection on July 1st. So only about a week and some days left of that reduced fare impacted on community transit. And then lastly, Pierce Transit. So in Pierce County to the south, fare collection has already begun, and that started again on June 14th. So it's really confusing that all these agencies have different plans for reinstating their fare, but we're trying, especially with this presentation, to make sure you have up-to-date information. So this is what the landscape currently looks like for that. So this is the end of the COVID impacts on public transit. Again, I'll pause to see if you have any questions. Please submit them through the chat, or again, put an X if you'd like to say your question out loud and we will call on you. Okay. All right, so I will continue on. Yeah, nothing coming through the chat, but still feel free to, we have a larger Q&A session at the end that we will cover any questions then as well. So now just moving on to general public transit with some notes on how the services may have been impacted by COVID-19. A great way to pay for any transportation service in the region is an ORCA card, a one regional card for all, and it is the regional transit pass, and it is accepted on many agencies in the region, from Community Transit, Pierce Transit, to our north and south, Sound Transit, which runs across multiple counties, of course, King County Metro, the light rail. It's just a great way to pay, so you don't have to think about carrying cash and exact change as you move between agencies, or different agencies have different fare, and you don't have to worry about, well, what am I taking today? What exact change do I need? So the ORCA card will just keep track of that all for you. And there are different types of ORCA cards to serve the very diverse population that we have in King County and the region. And here's just a very quick overview. The typical adult ORCA card right in the middle, that on King County Metro, the full fare cost for one bus ride is $275. And the ORCA Lift, and this is for low income adults, it's very easy to see if you know you're eligible. If you have Medicaid Provider One card, if you're already eligible for SNAP or TANF benefits, then you automatically are also eligible for ORCA Lift. And that fare is $1.50, so $1.25 lower than the regular fare. And then the RRFP is for older adults and people with disabilities or who are on Medicare. And that RFP is the Regional Reduced Fare Permit, and that fare is $1. And more information on this is available at King County Metro on their website, and you can also contact SKC Trips, and their email is there if they have the supplies to hand out those free ORCA cards that they were mentioning earlier in the presentation. For people who don't have an ORCA card yet, or aren't sure they would like to get one, there are fare alternatives, and this is again when fares are going to be collected again. So just again, monitor when the transportation agencies are going to be phasing back in those fares. But the most common is cash. Now you have to use exact change on buses. So a regular adult fare on the bus is $275. If you only have a $5 bill, or say, the operator won't be able to give you any change. So that is a downside to using cash. You have to carry exact change, or you'll be, losing money, kind of paying more than you need to. Human service bus tickets are really great, especially for organizations. Agencies can apply for the program. It's available. They send out an RRFP, or request for proposals. The 2020 RRFP is already closed, but if you're interested in your organization applying for human service bus tickets, I'd encourage you to look out for the 2021 RRFP. Basically, these are discounted tickets for human service organizations. A Metro adult ticket, you get 20 tickets, but it only costs your organization $5.50. So that's a great way to help your clients get around very cheaply to you and them. You can also purchase tickets on your smartphone. So I've been saying the Transit Go smartphone app. This is an explanation. The Transit Go is something you can get on your smartphone from the App Store or the Android store. And you can pay for your ticket there. And then as you board, you show the operator, the driver, you just hold up your phone and it shows on the screen their ticket. And so you're good to go. And if fare enforcement comes, that also is a proof of payment. ORCA and transferring. So you may be familiar getting on King County Metro buses. If you pay with cash, they'll give you a slip as shown here on the slide, and you get 2-hour transfer. So You can board, pay once. If you get on another bus within 2 hours, you don't have to pay again. You have a free transfer. And an ORCA card replaces those paper slips, so you don't have to keep track of it. It knows and keeps the time. And if you transfer between agencies, so you were on King County Metro, but then you transferred to a Sound Transit bus, it automatically tracks how much you paid, and you just pay the difference. Whereas with the paper slips, you cannot transfer between transit agencies. So the only way to transfer between those is with the ORCA card. So that's another great benefit. Yeah, and if you transfer to a more expensive mode, the ORCA card automatically pays the difference. So you don't have to pay another full fare again. There are a few ways to load money onto your ORCA card. So the most common is the e-purse, and it stands for electronic purse. It's a pay-as-you-go. You load money onto it like a debit card, and as you tap your fare, it automatically deducts the fare from your e-purse. So it holds money for you, and you take it out as you need to pay your fare. And you can load the money onto your e-purse in a couple different ways: over the phone. If you or your client would rather do it in person, ORCA vending machines. Metro headquarters in downtown Seattle, Neighborhood Pop-Up is a service where they come to community events or community locations, and they have a cart or a vending machine, a portable one, and they can load money onto your card then and there. It's important to note right now there's asterisks there because Metro headquarters is currently closed to the public for COVID-19 safety reasons. The Neighborhood Pop-Up is also not operating, and they've suspended operations through at least August 31st, and they may extend it again depending on the current situations regarding public safety measures. But grocery stores and a few pharmacies are also good places to go to load your ORCA cards. So QFC, Safeway, their customer service desk, you can go there, say I need to reload my ORCA card, you give them cash so they can charge your credit or debit card, and it loads your e-purse for you. Again, all of these are linked, so when I send out the PDF, if you want to know, well, where are those locations, where are those grocery stores in my region, click on that link and it'll have a list for you. And then also for people who are tech savvy, just want to do it online, orcacard.com is a great place. You go there, you put in the ORCA card number, you pay with a credit card, and it takes about 24 to 48 hours to load onto your ORCA card, onto your e-purse, but that money is there, and you don't have to worry about going to a secondary location to load your card. Another way to put money on an ORCA card that can save people money is a regional monthly ORCA pass. So this is, you pay one time depending on what your normal fare is. So if you normally only use King County Metro, adult fare of $275, you can preload that fare for a month of rides, and it is unlimited rides. So the cost for $275 would be $99. So you would pay $99 once, and it would save you money if you take more than 36 trips. So your 37th trip would ostensibly be free because you only pay $99, but you're taking an extra trip above that. So this works out well if you take 36 individual paying your fare rides a month. So it's basically commuting to and from work 5 days a week, you know, going there and coming back. And then again, if the fare is higher, it's automatically taken out of your e-purse, so you don't have to worry about it. And then here's just a quick visual to let people know what happens. You beep your ORCA card in the ORCA reader, and it's just lots of noises, lots of sounds. What does that mean? One beep and a green light means you're all good. And then when you light rail, when you get off and you tap again, it means that you're good to go. That was your tap off, and everything's a-okay. 2 beeps and a green light means you're okay, but you might need to load money. So I think under $5, it'll alert you, hey, your balance is low, consider reloading your e-purse soon. And then 5 beeps means that you don't have enough money, so you may need to pay with cash. It also could mean that it just didn't get a good read. So if you know that there is money on your ORCA card, just try to tap it again to get a better read from the reader. Another option I'll just go into briefly, since we don't have small businesses on this call really, but maybe good for you to know about, is ORCA for Small Business. This has been extended for at least another year, as long as funding is available. Small businesses with less than 100 employees, there are some options where you can give an ORCA card as a benefit to your employees to help them commute to and from work. choice is more flexible. It's a monthly contract. You can give it to one employee or more employees, kind of depending on your needs as a company. And then passport, less flexible because it's a full year contract, but it does give unlimited rides, but you do have to give it to at least 5 employees or more. Again, that's just a very brief overview. And this orcasmallbiz.com link can take you for more information if you're interested in that. Okay, I'll pause again to see if there's any questions in the chat about payment or ORCA card types. Any questions there? Alrighty, keep on going then. So the most common, at least in King County, is King County Metro buses, and they travel in King County, likely within cities or just close connections between cities. They have 2 types of buses. The regular ones, which are shown on the top of the slide here, the green, sometimes they're purple. You load at the front door, except right now where you load at the back door. So you load at the front door and you tap with your ORCA card, or you pay in the cash box as you enter, and then you exit at the rear to kind of help with that passenger flow. But then there's also rapid ride. So these are buses that have fewer stops. They have Wi-Fi on board, so you can connect. Maybe if you're going to work, you need to finish something real quick or answer an email. You pay for it before you get on the bus. So at every rapid ride stop, there are ORCA scanners at the bus stop on the sidewalk, and you pay there, and then you can load any bus. So loading and unloading is faster. Another thing that makes the service rapid in the rapid ride. But if you don't have an ORCA card, you need to pay. You can also enter through front and pay with your cash box, or if you have a Transit Go app, you can board at any, and if fare enforcement does come on, you can just show them your Transit Go app that you did pay for fare. And it is policed by fare enforcement, since you don't need to pass the driver to pay as you get on. In Sound Transit, they have multiple modes, not just buses. They have the bus. They also have the Link Light Rail. Sound Transit operates that. They also operate the Sounder, which is the commuter rail that goes from Lakewood to Seattle, and then Seattle back to Lakewood. Lakewood to Seattle in the morning, and then the opposite for evening commuting hours. The Link Light Rail, so it goes between Ingle Lake and the University of Washington. It's fast, frequent. You don't need to sit in traffic, which is great, and it also connects to the airport, which is very convenient for a lot of people. And then Tukwila, right there in South King County. And it's important to note that Sound Transit is still continuing their extensions that have been currently under construction, and the Federal Way extension is scheduled for completion in 2024. So that's great news, and they're still working on that through COVID-19 delays. A great service for the Tukwila station is via 2 Transit, and this service is a pilot program, but it was just renewed, and it will be operating again coinciding with King County Metro's ramp up. So it starts again on June 22nd, and it will go through April of 2021. And this is kind of similar to an Uber or a Lyft. It's an on-demand service. You can order through your app, and it connects you to the Tukwila International Boulevard station, where you can take the Link Light Rail into the city or over to SeaTac. You can also get on the Sounder, I believe, and other Sound Transit buses. Excuse me. Again, you can pay with ORCA to go. You can pay with the Transit Go app. The drivers don't handle cash, so you can't pay with cash, but your ORCA card, another great advantage to getting one of those. They also have similar safety measures during COVID-19. The app now screens both drivers and riders, asks you if you've had any symptoms before you can use the service. The drivers have been given sanitary things to wipe down the cars between passengers, and they just ask passengers to wear masks if they are able to reduce COVID-19 particles in the vehicles. And for more information, again, it's linked there, the Via to Transit website. And then Sound Transit South Rail. So I touched on it briefly, but it is a commuter rail service, and it only runs in the morning during commuter hours, and then in the afternoon it goes southbound for commuting south from Seattle to the suburbs. So it starts in Seattle, goes through Tukwila, Kent, Auburn, and then also crosses into Pierce County, connecting you all the way down to Lakewood. So it's great for cross-county travel. It does have fare enforcement on it, so be sure that you have proof of payment when you're on the Sounder South Rail. Okay, van pool and van share. These are great options for people who don't want to use public transit, but still want to try to, reduce their carbon emissions and take shared rides, but you don't want to use your own vehicle. Van pool and van share. So it requires a group of people, put an application, make sure that there's enough to warrant sending out a van for them. Between 5 and 12 people, they have different van sizes. Van pool is point to point, so it's carpooling, but with a van. You start at your home, or you gather at a central location and the driver and the passengers, and then you go all the way to your end location or your job or wherever. And then van share is just a first mile, last mile connection. So looking to bridge that gap between where riders live and getting to transit stations. So van share is a good way if you do want to take, say, the Sounder commuter rail, but you don't have a way of getting to the station. Another benefit of van share is that at park and rides, you say they always fill up and you can't find parking. Well, van share has reserved spots at park and rides. Then gas insurance, maintenance, 24-hour roadside assistance, and a couple of guaranteed ride home. So that means, say your van breaks down, or you miss the van pool, or you had to stay late at work, anything that happens, you have a few guaranteed ride home where they'll send a taxi to come take you home. So it is a fee you pay, an annual fee as like a fare, but it is cheaper because they cover gas and insurance and maintenance on your van. So how has it been impacted to COVID-19? King County Metro has set up van pool for essential workers. So I said in the previous slide, it takes at least 5 people to start a van pool or a van share, where they've reduced that number to only 2 riders. And if people are interested in starting an essential worker van pool or van share, email vanpool@kingcounty.gov with emergency van pool formation in the subject line. It's fare free through June 30th. Again, no word if that will be extended or if fares will start on July 1st. And for more information, I've linked it there. So when I send out the PDF, you can dive a little deeper and see the ins and outs of that program. Last and important to note is King County Metro Access. So this is a service for individuals who maybe are unable to take fixed route public transit for any reason. It's a shared ride van service, but it's door to door, so or curb to curb, so it comes to your house and it picks you up and it takes you directly to your destination. The fare is $1.75, and here you can pay with cash or you can pay with an ORCA card. And it's unclear. I can't guarantee, no one can guarantee what your eligibility is for. They have a pretty robust screening system. You have to fill out a pre-application, which is linked here, and then they send you a second application to get more about your physical mobility needs and your limitations and your disabilities. And then it does require any potential rider to go into Harborview to have an evaluation to determine if they are ultimately eligible for King County Metro Access Service. So I'll pause again. It's a lot of information so far. If anyone has any questions, again, just place them in the chat and we will address them. Or we could wait until the Q&A session at the end, and I'll also cover questions then.
And I actually might jump in with an additional note there about access in the time of COVID. It's recommended to, for any clients or anyone who's interested in access and is not enrolled already, just give them a call, and they have some flexibility to try to help out folks who don't have the ability to get around. So there's an opportunity for having less rigorous screening process currently, because people are having trouble with service reductions. So I would encourage anyone who has clients to call them or to visit their website as well for updates.
Great, thanks, Chris. Okay, our last section is on trip planning, how to find these resources that'll fit, how to get to the resources and access them, and make sure you're on the best route for your destination. So I'm going to go over some tools that can help you or your clients plan the trips. And it's good to check these tools before traveling, especially now during reduced service routes or cut routes, to make sure that when the bus is coming and if it's coming at all, so people aren't left at bus stops frustrated. So there's a couple tools to check. The Trip Planner app for King County Metro is the best one, or Text for Departures. And I'll go into those on later slides. So just again, an overview on trip planning. You can use smartphone apps like Google Maps, again, Metro Trip Planner, and then if people prefer paper trip planning options, timetables for the buses or their schedules can be found on the buses. They're usually at libraries or other community spaces, city halls, and some social service organizations have them. We at Hopelink have them, so when we do outreach, we take them with us to our tabling events and hand them to the public there. And if you need some for your organization, reach out to King County Metro and they can provide you with bus schedules so you can hand them out to your clients. So here is King County Metro Trip Planner. Here is a screenshot of what it looks like. They recently kind of revamped their website to make it a little easier to use. It's very, very similar to Google Maps if you ever use their trip planning in Google Maps. Insert the time you want to leave, or you can choose arrive by. So I need to be at my doctor by 3:30. When do I need to leave? And when is the bus going to come pick me up? So those are two options you can choose from. The time and date, and you can say, I don't want to use the commuter rail, or I do. You can click and unselect those modes of travel. And after you put in all your information, it'll tell you which routes, and it'll also tell you when the bus will be there and how long it'll take you to get to your final destination. So again, this is the best resource to use to know specifically when King County Metro buses are going to come during this time of reduced service due to COVID-19. And again, that site is linked there, or you can just Google Transit Metro Trip Planner. Text for Departure is another good one, and it doesn't require a smartphone app. So for people who may be less adept to using smartphones or websites, this is just simpler. You just text, and it's a free service. So here is an example of a Metro bus sign. It says stop number circled in red on the slide. You text that number to 62550, and you tell it your stop ID, and then it will respond in text form with your stop number again, each route, and how long until that route arrives at the bus stop. So it's kind of hard to see on the image, but you can see stop number 1120, the 10 should be coming now, or the 47 will be coming in 6 minutes. And so you don't have to be frustrated, man, when is that bus coming? It'll tell you. And you can also check this before you leave your apartment to see, or your home, if you're walking or biking to the bus stop, how long do I have to get there? And for people who don't want to text, there's also a call option, and you just provide them with that stop number again. So we've gone over a lot of public transit options, but there's other multimodal transit, other options, such as walking if you're able, free and convenient, also good for your cardiovascular health and reducing carbon emissions. Biking as well is a good option, and most buses and trains have bike racks. And here is linked to more information on kingcounty.gov/metro/bike, instructions on how to mount your bikes on buses on the front, also information on bike lockers at park and rides. And then carpooling, again, you can register your carpool to get a guaranteed spot at park and rides in King County. You just register your carpool. And just a reminder to follow public health best practices for social distancing. If you're carpooling, make sure everybody in your car is either wearing face masks, or you're all been screened, you don't have any symptoms, so you're not contaminating or spreading COVID-19 within your group who carpool or van share or van pool together. Van share, again, carpooling, but with a King County Metro van. Get to and from park and rides, with guaranteed spots at park and rides if they're registered. And then another mode of transit is the Uber or Lyft. It can be more expensive for an Uber or Lyft, but it's a good solution for on-demand first mile, last mile connections. And again, be sure you don't ride stick, wear masks and gloves, and don't sit in the front, sit in the back seat so the driver and you have as much distance as possible from each other. And sometimes things go wrong, routes are cut, buses break down, and it can be really frustrating to not know what's going on. So King County Metro has their transit alerts, and you can sign up and they'll send a text message to you if your route has been impacted, or an email depending on which one you sign up for. Or also if like routes are cut, if they go onto their emergency snow network in the winter, it's just a good way to stay up to date on what's going on. And then just a final pitch for Hopelink Mobility Management and our Transportation Resources line. This is a line that we operate on the Mobility Management team Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so we can kind of do this one-on-one transportation education with clients in real time and help them learn what route do I need to take, or say they need to get to the doctor's appointment and they can't take the bus for some reason, like is there a service that they may be able to use? So finding those alternative modes of transportation, also help them just trip plan on a regular fixed route service with bus, light rail, and more. And also learn about non-emergency medical transportation options, specifically our Medicaid brokerage that we operate, or if they don't have Medicaid, it's a great way for us to help connect them with other resources. So there is our number. Again, we operate Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., or you can email us and we get back to you at mobility@hopelink.org. So here is the end of the presentation. Thank you for sticking with us for this long. If you have any questions, or again, if you'd like to speak up and say your question aloud, just put an X in the chat box and we'll call on you to see your answer. Yes, Marie.
I have a comment about Trip Planner. Is it possible to go back to that slide?
Sure. Oops, there it is.
Right there, yes. Okay, a lot of people put in their information and they get a trip and it says, oh, wow, I gotta take 3 buses.
Mm.
And so, and then they settle for that.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get their plan, there are options to where you can plan your route by what we call legs, which is let's say you have to take the A line, and then you're going to take the 124, and then you take the number 10 somewhere. And you're going, oh my gosh. And so then all you do to find another route is you do it by leg. And you'll get a different answer.
Mm-hmm.
That, because I didn't introduce myself, this is the Metro Transit Instruction Program. And we go over that with our clients and exploring all of that. It's a little pitch for the program there. But the thing about it is a lot of people settle for the first answer. And I recommend that people don't settle for the first answer that Metro gives you on Trip Planner. Explore. That's all my comment.
Thank you, Marie. Yeah, that is great. It's really easy to think that that's the only option, especially if you're not familiar with public transit. So that's a great plug. And again, our transportation resource line or MV transit instruction is a great way to kind of learn more about trip planning. Again, submit any other questions in the chat, but just I'll introduce again, anybody, if you have questions for the follow-up, our new South King County Coordinator, Bevan Gilbert, for us at Hopelink, or if you have questions for SKC Trips or the City of Tukwila, Chris Andre can help you with that. And here is their contact information that again will be out in the PDF that I sent to everybody. And I will also be sending out a follow-up survey just to know like how we did and to accurately track attendance to see our numbers reached. And it would just be great for you to take that for as many feedback. But again, I'll go to the question slide and wait to see if anybody has more questions for us. I'll open it up to my co-organizers. City of Tukwila, if you have any last comments that you'd like to share, or Sarah, if you have any comments you want to make sure people know.
Thank you so much for attending. I know it's a longer presentation and there's a lot of material here. Thank you so much, Janie, for going through it so well. And we're open to follow-ups and excited to help folks get on board in this time. So feel free to reach out, and if you would like further presentations or resources, please don't hesitate to let us know.
Great. Okay. Thank you all for attending and spending this time with us, and I will be sending out a follow-up email to you shortly. Thank you again.